Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. Let me introduce you to the proud owner of a barracks, most of the way across the map, directly outside his opponent's base. The Admiral. It's GuMiho. And his unsuspecting victim, about to have new neighbors, and not the very nice kind. It is the best player from the United States of America, the Battle Mage, the Protoss, in the red, Astrea. A best of 3 TVP, but GuMiho doesn't seem to have any interest in making it take particularly long. If you like in-your-face, aggressive strategies, well, hopefully you'll like this one. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Are we still ringing the bell? Are there bells to ring? I've never done it. It sounds, okay, don't ring the bell. But the first two, he'll say, Jimmy, what are we at? 1,112 likes on this video. Cast another series. Maybe make out one of those new patch games. I'll be uploading some of my games on the new patch on the second channel, by the way, which if that's the first time you heard that existed, well, here we are. But a lot of thoughts there, but this is your classic, at least current, Terran versus Protoss. Here comes GuMiho, first Reaper, Zealot already out. Astrea, he sent a probe across, saw the double gas, and figured it out from there. Well, the lack of barracks may have given some things away. But the Reaper comes out. Astrea is going for the expansion, realizing this isn't going to be some sort of marauder all-in. With the Reaper already taking a lot of damage, an unexpected amount. At this stage, one Stalker shot away. GuMiho! GuMiho! Ooh. Well, toying with him. But he will get a second and a third Reaper out. A Reaper build. Probe. SCV hot on its trail. In the main. Unfortunately, they are the same speed, unless the probe decides to bump into a wall there. Factory in the main, building a Hellion. I think he just wants to get rid of the probe. Well, and then slaps down the tech lab just to make sure that probe gets all the information before getting out. Now cancel and go react. No. So, the Proxy, the Reaper, against Astrea's calm and collected response. I gotta say, losing only 2 probes, one of them the scouting probe to this. You don't expect to take a lot of damage, but what Astrea did, he just slapped down the Nexus. He was not intimidated by this relatively light dusting of cheese here. It's a strategy that if your opponent overreacts, you can get ahead as Terran. But at the same time, well, I say that, but then here comes, you actually kill a Stalker. The Stalkers will get 2 of the Reapers, though, as a follow-up. Yeah, GuMiho not finding a ton of success here. Astrea not going to be able to convert this into any sort of real aggression past it. Another Reaper was built to scout the main. The key takeaway here... oh, the Twilight is at the natural. So... I believe it was already scouted by GuMiho. Yeah, he saw the Twilight. I don't know if he could... It's kind of a weird spot for the Twilight Council. But, not unexpected tech nonetheless. Blink is the choice. Good kind of catch-all there, especially when you know your opponent has invested heavily in tech and it hasn't really paid off. The Blink can get you back map control. Look at that mini-map. Look at it! Look at the vision that he's already trying to put up. Expecting, I think, Widowmine drops? Or something, or maybe Hellion drops along those lines. Because, well, either that... He did see the tech lab here, but that's not always a giveaway. Trying to get some info. If he suspected a Cyclone, it would be kind of weird to have these units out there like that, because a Cyclone could easily pick them off. But, Astrea, making sure he's got all his bases covered, literally, figuratively, emotionally. Maybe not that. Especially nowadays. But, Blank for just a handful of Stalkers. I'm surprised we don't see a third Nexus. Some Spylons going up. And this is why I was kind of surprised to see. If he suspected the Cyclone, that's why having those Stalkers out there is a bit of a weird move, to say the least, as the Cyclone can easily pick him off. Of course, more Stalkers closing in. GuMiho, again, a bit greedy. Oh my god. I thought he might have the perfect... Oh, come on. Blink is done in 8 seconds. That Cyclone ain't getting away. Alright. But after the new patch... It certainly won't. It's a lot slower. There's actually a ton of changes. I'm not going to go over it here. Just go check the second channel. And then once we start seeing tournaments, We'll see cast here. But, oh my god.
What a save! What?
Templar Archives from Astrea. I can't believe that Cyclone made it home. That Cyclone has... It's gonna... Anything past this point is just gonna be disappointing. After that sort of experience. 3 racks. Raven is done. Templar Archives for Astrea. Looks like he's rushing towards Storm, or at least... I love Astrea's use of the Templar. Just to feed back the Raven. Well, unfortunately the Raven... Its use of detection to take out the Observer. But Astrea kind of pinning GuMiho back on 2 bases here. This, by the way, this is a matchup we've seen several times. Always makes for dramatic games. As GuMiho... Well, right now, this is about the cookie-cutter standard unit composition. GuMiho, though, is willing to mix it up with Terran, whereas Astrea is a very... It's such a precarious balance between too many spellcasters and not enough as Protoss. All right. A will they, won't they, of how many ability units they should have. Like a Harry Potter movie. It's like, oh, are we going to learn the right spells in time? Or did we forget to chrono boost? Harry Potter and the precarious Protoss balancing act. That's enough. We've made the joke. Meanwhile, the Raven scouting ahead. What? Okay. Astrea's just nomadic Protoss Templar here. There is no War Prism to carry him.
Pylon under attack.
Well, this is what you get. Wait, are they both using... Oh, wait, no, that was Astrea. Oh my god, the bait. And from the back, the storm! Astrea! Oh, no. And a feedback on the Raven. GuMiho walks right into it. I mean, he really set the hook on that one. He really waited until the last moment to bring him in, and it paid off. And now it's Astrea marching across the map. He's got over a dozen charge lots. The siege tank's going to reposition here, maybe a little further back. Or, what? Okay, GuMiho just chilling. War Prism on the way now. The chauffeur for those Templar. More than likely. Honestly, that's a trick that's only going to work once per series. As GuMiho has fallen for Astrea's sneaky storms before. But I'm sure he'll be covering and watching for it here on out. We got Robo Bay. 3rd base, pretty much fully saturated. What do we got up here? Raven snuck out. A Zealot will scout. GuMiho's taking a 3rd. Ghosts on the way. As we've reached the stage where both players are so dangerous to each other that it's unlikely we'll see a direct attack. Will Astrea actually try some aggression? He's feigning a sort of strength here, but he's got a 2nd Robo and a Robo Bay back at home. All he's trying to do is make sure GuMiho can't move out without the storms and the Protoss army having a say in it. Just aggressive map control here. And with storms against relatively minimal ghosts, Astrea can continue kind of bully his way around, at least until GuMiho gets closer to maxing out. Though he's not slouchy on that either. The idea is Astrea now controls the map with his Templar. But by the time there's enough biomass, puns, that's not a pun, that's literal in this case. When there's enough biomassed up and enough ghosts to negate the Templar, the Colossi are online with extended thermal lance. Widowmine cut to pieces by the Zealots before it could burrow. I think Astrea on top of the tech tree right now, growing more quickly than GuMiho so far. GuMiho is going to get one big opportunity. Is he not researching? Oh my god, he queued up +2 weapons? Does he have 2 NG base? Is that a mistake? No, he just queued up +2 weapons after. That's a +2 armor, especially against someone with Storm, is an odd choice. But he does have +2 armor queued up after +2 weapons, so interesting from GuMiho. Feedback the Raven, I love it. Pre-MP, not gonna happen. More feedback, 0 out of 5 on Yelp. People still use Yelp? I haven't used Yelp for a while. Irrelevant. Templar juggled into the Prism. Prism juggled into out of existence. Vikings. This fight kind of scrambling together. EMPs. It looks like Astrea just going for it. GuMiho's on the other side of the map simultaneously, trying to fight, but there are Templar there. Astrea just kind of busted his way into the third. I don't think either player expected that fight to escalate quite so far, but they just kind of found themselves in it. Astrea gonna back off, try to intercept. Optimistic 5th base. Slaps it right back down after a quick cancel. Targeting down the medevacs. The storms to soften up the rest. And without the medevacs to bring them back to full, those Marines and Marauders are on the run. Even a Ghost in the mix there. But the Templar have enough energy. The Colossi split between the bases. So far, a great defense from Astrea, and aggressive defense at that. He has yet to do critical damage to GuMiho, obviously, but he's kept control of the map and hasn't slowed down economically. Robos 3 and 4. The mass, I for one, greet our new Robo Overlords as 4 Robos and counting. I think Protoss have kind of embraced, shout out to Classic, embraced that gateway units are, how do you say, terrible in the late game, and just don't cut it. But robotics units, on the other hand, building them en masse, well, you know what? I'm gonna risk it. Changing tack slightly. We have, with +2 ship weapons on the way. He's building a second reactor, but a fusion core from GuMiho. And GuMiho, one of the players who's willing to go for the battlecruisers. Now, it seems relatively unlikely, as he has 2 reactored starports. He has 2 command centers. He has +2 ship weapons on the way. But if anyone deserves, well, yeah, it's for Liberators. But fusion core, though, a dramatic choice. 3 Liberators, or not? I'm sorry, 3 Disruptors on the way. As Astrea continues his mech production. EMP just throws it out there ahead. I guess when you have enough ghosts, you run out of targets. Well, recall was already used. Not that he was gonna... Wow, a minimalist, a double splash damage. We got the Battle Mage in full action here, but the Nexus goes down anyways. Storms, Raptors, Blank, more Storms. A full variety pack of Protoss spellcasting will melt away GuMiho's army and allow Astrea to reestablish that location. We got Vikings, we got Liberators, we got advanced ballistics, but 4 Raptors at a time. And GuMiho has been beaten back. His biocontrol is good, but is it good enough? As Astrea just continues. Oh, nice blink there. He continues to work his way up in supply. He's got a 20 supply lead. He's got +2, +1. 4 Raptors on the way. I just keep looking at that. I'm like, it's so scary. Why, are 4 Liberators less scary? Oh, it very much depends on who you ask. 3 more racks. GuMiho going up to 8. I thought it might be a more dramatic number. 9 gateways. A Stargate has begun. The very first one. He didn't open Stargate. Oh, I think already suspecting the switch into... Well, he sees the Liberator, so... pretty strong suspicion of Liberators, then. Another Storm. A very dead Marine. Well, overkill, but my favorite kind of kill. A Raven added back in. Or is that the first Raven? Wow, GuMiho has kept that Raven alive. He repaired it. The Disruptor count is overwhelming. Ready to fire the full broadside. Unleashes a salvo. 4 Raptor shots. Anti-armor missile. Loses 1 Raptor. More feedbacks out here. Astrea knocking at the gates. But can he blast his way through? Widowmine. Looks like it killed a Stalker. Zealots waiting for their opportunity. Battle groups of Protoss units all throughout the map here. Astrea has Zealots, Templar. There's a Templar with this army. I love the addition of just a Templar with all of this. Forces GuMiho to respect it. A Storm softens up some of the air. But Astrea still not able to find the army to crack the defenses. Oh, EMP hits most of the Robo units, but there's not much left to contest. The disruptors will break through the tank, the sensor tower, but Astrea waits a little longer. Fleet beacon and 2 more Stargates on the way. Astrea putting up the cannons. +1 ship weapons, air weapons for Protoss. +1 shields, +1 armor now. Sensor tower, blasted, purification novas. What do we got over here? The zealots. Oh, but EMP over the top against the high templar. +3 ship weapons. Now for the Terrans. Ravens still going over here. That is the same. I gotta keep checking because that is a remarkable. That life expectancy of a Raven, it rarely extends more than 30 seconds past the first push. GuMiho really upping the numbers here. Double barrel. Knocks out another sensor tower. GuMiho, very diligent. Another sensor tower. No. Another one being built. Maybe just build 2 or 3, just scatter them out. All right. Disruptors, the natural predator of sensor towers. Okay, I saw it in a documentary. The game is stalling out as we take to the skies. GuMiho has been able to lock down not 4, but 5 bases. That 5th base is a real key point, as that allows him to keep maintaining 3 bases of mining, which now he's competitive with Astrea, who technically has the same amount. He's just now taken that front base as well. 4. Oh. I don't think he's building 4 more starports for Liberators. GuMiho. When he takes to the skies, where is he building? He's building them at the front. Maybe building a slower unit. Okay, I think he's going battlecruisers. I suspected it as this game slowed down. As Ancient Cistern is just such a large map as well. It's hard to capitalize on any sort of advantage on the ground. Oh my god, 11 disruptors. One more time. For those in the back. Yamato cannon is on the way. Weapon, I think it's still called weapon refit, but we're refitting a big ass cannon right down the center of the battlecruisers. Of course, you have to have any battlecruisers, which right now they're still a pretty long way off. Astrea banking up a lot of money. Carriers on the way, battlecruisers as well. Great minds think alike, as they both go for the air. The disruptors still, there's still an opportunity. Ooh. If the disruptors get enough done, Astrea can just break through. But he's also been very patient in working his way up the tech tree. He hasn't dove on any of the planetaries. Wait, I assume there are planetaries? A couple of them. Instead, he sat back and made sure he took good trades, as it's very easy for, especially with EMP involved, for Protoss players to find themselves biting off a lot more than they can chew. It's at this time I must remind you, they can't chew anything. They don't have mouths. All right, Jimmy, check it off. We got it. And then storms on SCVs, though not how we usually expect to see them. Both players kind of freed up some supply for their late game fleets. The Golden Armada against the Terran fleet. On paper, so maybe the Battle Mage Astrea will be. Oh, well, these ranged liberators are going to be annoying. We have yet to see a Protoss really show in an even money game how to dismantle those battlecruisers. It feels like, well, on paper, Tempest. Unfortunately, we don't play tabletop here. Another salvo. The disruptors. Almost getting those goes. Carriers, not incredible, as the battlecruisers have a huge amount of armor. 3 base armor. And then, of course, whatever you're slapping on, like right now, GuMiho finished from +1. Interceptors have multiple attacks, and they don't have particularly high damage on their own. So, like, 30 to 50% of the damage of the interceptors is mitigated overall. And, of course, the interceptors themselves are relatively easily taken out by the battlecruisers if they have any time to focus on them. The battlecruisers, I don't know if Astrea has seen them. He's still building more carriers. Is that what he would do? Void Rays in a vacuum? With a void, I guess, is where they thrive, but Void Rays can deal with them directly. The problem is Void Rays are very vulnerable to Liberators, Marines, Widowmines, Ghost Vikings, Ravens with anti-armor or interfere. Like, so, as long as GuMiho doesn't have any of them. But Astrea may be able to lean on just his sheer economic advantage as he continues covering fire, suppressing Novas. The command center picks up some SCVs very optimistically. The battlecruisers, he has Yamato ready. Targets down a Templar, jumps away. The first battlecruiser recalls away. The first engagement, neither side really wanting to commit. The SCVs drop out to repair the command center. Good thing there was no internal damage. DT Blink is on the way, almost as an afterthought. If you remember Astrea versus Scarlet, where Astrea managed to get every single upgrade in the game besides Adept Glaives. He's headed that direction again. We haven't seen Tectonic Destabilizers, Flux Veins. Okay, we're still pretty far off, but Tempests are on the way. Tempests, so that is his choice against the Battlecruisers. The Tempests with their extra damage against massive air units. The Battlecruisers. Well, that's it for Terran, but specifically, unfortunately, a depowered Stargate does not produce Tempest very fast. Meanwhile, the Bio Army is cutting it off. The production is being targeted, but Astrea can easily rebuild. Yamato cannon, double shot, blasts away, jumps over to the side. Oh my god, that Stalker is very dead. That is the most deadest Stalker in the history of Stalkers. I'm pretty sure Stalkers are like dead zealots put into a robot husk or something. And if they aren't, well... Oh, this is not worth it. It's not worth continuing this train of thought. Moving on. Battlecruisers. Just strafing through. Astrea already used his recall. This is where a mothership with its own recall is sometimes used as a mobility option to try to deal with the tactical jumps of the battlecruisers. These ones still very much on cooldown. Might lose one. One battlecruiser picked up, but the Bio Army now over to the left flank. Just cutting through what remains of this base. Astrea going to press the issue forward. How long on recall? We got 10 more seconds, so at that point he can recall his way back home. And the Bio Army fires off an entire volley of disruptor shots. Just unleashes them all to try to help through the base. Are we base trading? He EMPs the Nexus, which means no recall to the main. Astrea still has plenty of money in the bank. GuMiho does not. So if GuMiho can hamstring Astrea or even cut off Astrea's production, Astrea now building Stargates and Vanilla Gates at his front base here. As we go into something of a base trade, but the Yamato volley is online, firing through. The army is not enough. The recalls. Oh, it's too late. Oh, the battlecruisers are able to strafe their way and blast with cannons to victory, and he chases down. He tried to recall home, but the battlecruisers jump to chase. There's not enough there. Anti-armor missile definitely helps with the battlecruiser lasers as well. They attack so fast. Nuclear missile on the way. Wait, that was an interference matrix against a High Templar, which is technically possible. Astrea has been gutted in the main. He's now trying to rebuild. This is a very lore-accurate Protoss here. We're just going to rebuild somewhere else because we made some big mistakes in the main. And hopefully we can recover. Rebuilding a fleet beacon, more Stargates, Void Rays in production. As without a fleet beacon, that's really the only choice. The battlecruisers, though, are cooling down. which is a weird way to call Yamato, and I guess you gotta cool him down so you can heat him up again to blast him with the Yamato. What am I doing? What was with the science today? It's boring science stuff, Terry. Nobody wants to listen to this. The scans keep track of the army. Astrea is supply blocked with 7K, 4K in the bank. He asked, you must construct additional pylons. But unfortunately, GuMiho has already taken out so many of them. The Stargates are being chrono boosted once again. But GuMiho has almost full vision. The battlecruisers are headed towards it. Tactical jump. Protoss has no way to stop the tactical jump aside from blasting the battlecruiser out of the sky before it can execute it. He's discovered the Stargates. The Bio Army underneath, though. Void Rays online. Prismatics aligned. He jumps to the corner. Astrea, does he have a recall? Recall's still on cooldown. Oh no, this army. He's gonna kill some of the SCVs, but he's gonna lose all of his disruptors. Oh, it's too late. He gets the recall, but the disruptors are targeted. He lost the Nexus! It's a disaster! Oh no! It just keeps getting worse. Once again, the Colossus, the worst buddy cop movie. Colossus and Disruptor, neither of them can hit up. Can't you headbutt him? Are you kidding me? Oh, Disruptor shot. Oh my, that Stalker, that Disruptor is nearly as dead as that other Stalker was. Astrea still has enough money to rebuild the Armada, but he doesn't have the production. GuMiho has reestablished his bases. How many battlecruisers? 5 battlecruisers have died. Astrea's lost 11K more minerals, 3,000 more gas. This army, well, the Tempest count is high enough. The Bio Army itself, well, the EMPs hit much of it. More EMPs, just throwing out what he can. Unfortunately, the Tempests are pretty okay against the battlecruisers, but their damage leaves a lot to be desired against pretty much everything else. The battlecruisers jump in! The tac de blanc! He goes forward! Void Rays are charged up at the Yamato cannon volley! Directly on top of the army! Well, GuMiho felt like a dramatic conclusion was in order, but it does seem like... No, never mind. Yeah, well, GuMiho actually doesn't have that much money left here. He decided to go for the dramatic jump, but Astrea still has enough money in the... Okay, so GuMiho's out of anti-air. Oh, he thought his plot armor would protect him there. But I don't know how there's a DT. The Dark Shrine was killed a long time ago. So, whoa, did GuMiho just throw the game? He jumped. There was no reason. He had him cornered to what he thought was one base. He hasn't scouted this base at the corner. But Astrea had so little production for... He still has so much money in the bank. Look at that. What? Oh my. But a widow mine. Well, there's an observer here, thankfully. Oh, okay. He gets it. The carrier pops out at fortuitous timing. A scan. Oh no. Widow mine connects. The one observer. There isn't a robo. He has to restart the tech tree from the roots. He has to rebuild. Well, he can build gateways and a fleet beacon, but he can't build a cyber core or a robo, so a bit of an awkward scenario. Unfortunately, though, Astrea, he's fighting against the clock here. His units, well, I don't think the SCVs are going to come on over and repair, no matter how many minerals he offers them. Another sensor tower. Oh. An observer spots the widow mine, but there's still marine production. There's still mules. GuMiho. Astrea might have had the income, but he just doesn't have the army. There's just not enough here. He's rebuilding a fleet beacon, but I think the time for carriers has passed. The time for Tempest arguably never came. The Marines are gunning everything down, and he's tearing up the final real base. GuMiho, well, there's still the off chance that Astrea is running out of money to rebuild. He has the probe count he started with. Restarts a cyber core before his warp gate dies. This is still 332 carriers. Does he notice the Widow Mine? Oh no. Widow Mine takes out a Tempest. I'd call that a pretty okay trade. Astrea is rebuilding for the 3rd time this game. The Battlecruisers were wiped out a while ago, but there's still a nuke, by the way. Not that he can fire it. GuMiho, the one base GuMiho hasn't checked. A phalanx of pylons here, just to get back into it. Astrea. Honestly, GuMiho's probably wondering why Astrea hasn't left the game. Like, this guy, why are you still here, bro? The scare! Ah! There's only 2 orbitals left. The DT died at some point. Astrea. No, you can't build that gas geyser there. It's out, you can't. Okay, he's setting up for like a base trade, but shield battery overcharge doesn't work with no shield battery. Marines, Vikings. He's just taking out the interceptors. Astrea just never. He still has money in the bank. But GuMiho never let him back into it. He got GuMiho'd in that one. Ooh. The Battlecruisers cracked the Protoss wide open. And the Marines came streaming through the breach. Astrea. Oh, that one hurts. And I'm pretty convinced until he scanned that corner right there. GuMiho was... Like, why are you still in the game, man? Like, why aren't you leaving the game? Which, if he had more than 2 orbitals, he may have just scanned across the board. But Astrea actually still had he still had the money. He still had it to deal with it. So, it wasn't BM. In fact, if GuMiho give him another minute, maybe he can get... I don't know. He kept having to restart the tech tree from nothing. Which is so rough. Oh, well. Well, how do you follow that one out? As quickly as possible, please, Jimmy. I don't... We're going into Gresvin. Oh, God. I want to take this time. I'm reminding myself. But if you haven't yet checked it out, I have forgotten. I've been wanting to add it in. We're breaking the 4th wall a bit here. But I've been wanting to add it in. For selfish purposes, of course. But Patreon and the join button. If you have more disposable income at the end of this series than Astrea, and you want to support, that'd be awesome. If you have the means and motivation. If you have the means, no motivation, well, I bet you're a Terran player. If you have the motivation but not the means, you're good. All right. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy. The like button is, last I checked, at least free. So, thank you for watching. And now, game 2. Oh, another shout out to the Korean StarCraft 2 League. Both these players in Korea, fighting for GSL, KSL, all the SLs. Well, that's it. That's the end of the list. But again, I feel Astrea is always. It's the perfect storm, puns intended. He needs to bring it all together. He plays Protoss the way it's supposed to be played. Unfortunately, that's not always enough. I feel like his style, his mindset, and the styles that he likes to play really embrace the fantasy of Protoss, which is calling down massive capital ships, using huge high energy psionic storms and disruptors and colossi. But those battle cruisers, just a little too much to deal with. I think Tempest has a reaction. GuMiho did what you need to do. He didn't give him any time to breathe. He didn't give him any time to prepare. The battlecruisers, by the time they showed up, they were already ready to do damage. I mean, that's the main strength of late game battlecruisers, is how much of a tech switch they usually require. So, GuMiho, an expert in that. What am I watching here? What is this? Astrea. He's doing the shield. He's doing a sentry expand. I mean, the shield battery is what keeps the sentry alive. I'm pretty sure a sentry beats... It tickles a Reaper to death if the Reaper stands still long enough. But otherwise... Well, I said scouting was a lot of the issue. And with a sentry expand, you're able to get a hallucinated Phoenix out quite quickly. Easily in time to see any sort of tech they have in their main. So Astrea with another... I really do like the style and kind of the ideas he has. Yeah, that's a Widowmine. It's just a lot to manage. Once he finishes his 7 years at Hogwarts, he might finally be able to cast all the relevant spells in time. Oh, it is a lot. I am interested to see how a more usable mothership would affect that sort of situation. A mothership that has a recall on a more reliable cooldown against battlecruisers. I've already been using it in my games a little bit. Did you know you can mass recall warp prisms that are already phased into warp mode and start warping in the second that they get recalled onto the mothership? And if you didn't, well, I wouldn't ladder after the patch, right? Assuming you survive to the mothership, that is, it's very cinematic and also a bit concerning. You know what else is concerning? Widowmines. Astrea, he knows something's coming. Unfortunately, he's a little out of position here. The Widowmine's gonna drop out. Astrea on the move. Only one probe so far, retargeting. Gets 2 mines out. That's a lot of mining time lost. Force field almost manages to get the heli in there. So, even when you don't kill the probes, it is quite a win in terms of income for that moment. The Widowmine drop against the 3-base Protoss, definitely. As long as you don't lose the medevac in the mines, then usually finds itself being paid for. Now, the follow-up is important as well. We've already got the Robo Bay from Astrea. Raven on its way out. There's not enough Stalkers to do any sort of real blink aggression. Maybe poke and prod and catch anything coming out, but... Raven not gonna happen. Charge on the way. I don't know why I said it like that, but charge on the way alongside the Robo Bay. Chutoy Depot. Gonna absorb the fire of those Stalkers. Is that an observer? Observer will allow us to threaten a blink into the main. Well, now we have the full production line. Beautifully laid out. Gotta appreciate that. Ooh, Widowmine tried to drop. It covered. They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brothers. I don't. Widowmine was dropped out so the medevac would live, assuming Astrea wasn't looking that exact moment. Also, you do have to kill the Widowmine. He drops another one out. 5, 6 gates. Bringing him to that 8 total. About max production on 3 base. Alright. Astrea, no forge. Important to note. Pure unit production here. Great micro against the Marines. Keeps all the Stalkers alive. So far, GuMiho's push has been somewhat hamstrung by Astrea's collected response. Widowmine got a kill of some kind. I think it was a probe. Which is probably best case scenario. Well, this is a bit of an awkward fight. Scrambles the Colossus. But getting the interference matrix, well, the Sentry's force field will mildly inconvenience the army. This all happened before combat shield and +1, but he drew out the interference matrix, which means he's going to be able to kill the tank here. The Raven, he tries to scramble the Colossus again, and will force it back. Another Colossus steps up to the plate, though. And it looks like GuMiho is going to be served an eviction notice. Keeps the Raven alive, just barely. But Astrea did a great job of forcing out those interference matrices. And with those off the table, it becomes a lot harder to crack through these defenses with just bio units. Extended thermal lance Colossi, keeping them at more than arm's reach. There aren't... He's got to be a little careful not to be surrounded by the bio. Oh my god, the Raven. Like, 1 HP. Another Colossus. 3 done now. Templar Archives on the way. Astrea. A lot more direct with how he's teching in this game. Skipping the upgrades until after he's already got a lot of Colossi in production. Not just now, getting +1. The Templar Archives nearly complete. Oh, we don't mind. Sacrifices a zealot. Will GuMiho fight this? There's a lot of Marauders, but... Ooh. A lot of Marauders, but an Immortal in the mix there. My Zealots... Ooh. Oh, didn't see you there. Just passing through. One Zealot. Go tell the story to your friends. I don't think I will. Ghosts on the way, Vikings. The direct response. GuMiho building his third base on location. There's still a few seconds that Astrea could potentially pressure it or even cancel it. Though, I think GuMiho has enough to hold the high ground for now. The main base, there's an SCV waiting for the inevitable prism at the edge of the main. More spot on. Zealot's taken down. Oh, I'm not sure if the warp prism... No, the warp prism was not spotted. Fourth base for Astrea. GuMiho not quite stabilizing yet, as he's still kind of stuck back. He doesn't really have anything but bio. The supplies are a little misleading because of the complexity of the armies right now. We have 12 Marauders, 26 Marines, but there are 3 Colossi, a Disruptor, and now it's just +1 to +1 versus +1. GuMiho cannot fight this until he gets enough Vikings to essentially wipe out the Colossi. What is that number? I'd say, if you're Clem, 3 per Colossi. If you're anyone else, it's about 5. So you don't need to take all of them out, but knock them down to 1 or 2. And then they no longer are killing Marines, and especially not killing Marauders in any sort of quick manner. 3 Colossi, though, is the critical mass that essentially burns through all the bio. It doesn't kill Marauders in a single valley, but I believe 2 of them will get the job done. It's just so much general damage. More Raptors on the way. GuMiho, he's kept... I gotta say, I love how well he keeps the Raven alive. He was about to lose it right there. Ghosts at the front, gets an EMP. 1-1 versus 1-1, but Astrea is the only one going to +2 upgrades. The Raven is a bit of a wrinkle here, as the fact it's still here with 2 interference matrices definitely could tilt the fight further towards GuMiho than Astrea might like. Alright, Disruptor shot. Oh, he dies, but he gets an anti-armor missile. The Disruptors can zone out for now. GuMiho rotates around. Astrea not quite in position to deal with this. Will he get the Nexus? Honestly, GuMiho not really seizing the opportunity. Disruptor takes a chunk. The Nexus itself gonna go down. GuMiho quite indecisive in this fight. He still ends up taking an okay one, but if you try to go every direction, you're not getting anywhere fast. GuMiho kind of squandered the opportunity for a clean getaway. And then he didn't end up taking the fight, so he's scanning like he's about to GG. Like, yeah. You don't usually scan quite like that unless you're considering leaving the game. And after that fight, GuMiho might be looking for an excuse. That was just a bit disastrous. GuMiho didn't If you stay, it's going to be trouble, GuMiho. But if you go, arguably, it could be up to double. Though in that case, I think a clean getaway was probably the preferable option. Astrea not going to rest on his advantage here, though. He's got 2-2. Blink Stalkers heading out forward. The shield in front. Disruptors following it up. Knocks out the ghost. Looks for more. Curves it directly in. The Widowmines managed to dodge, but that's enough. GuMiho taps it out. Astrea takes one back. Beautiful. Astrea keeps his advantage there. GuMiho definitely floundering a bit there, trying to kill the Nexus. Not as comfortable with that bio army, especially once the disruptors are on the field. But Astrea holding strong. And that puts us all tied up at 1-1. Alright. Honestly, I think it's partially map dependent. It's a little bit the start. Well, in game 1, GuMiho proxied a Reaper, which even though it didn't do much, definitely threw Astrea slightly off. I think that's part of the reason. Terran players, whenever they get the opportunity, NG Bay blocks, Proxy Reaper, these don't cost too much, and they might even be worse on paper. But disrupting your opponent, pun somewhat intended, is worth more in many of the cases. As another issue for Protoss is you can't really adjust your bases, you can't adjust your pylon placements. These are things that kind of are figured out beforehand. You have to know where your pylons are going, and even having to delay your base a little bit can sometimes delay the rest of the build because you got to place the pylon down, then you got to put the gateways nearby, or what have you. So it's a bit of a house of cards sometimes, as we saw in game 1 with the production falling, despite the money in the bank. GuMiho. Will we see Battlecruisers again? I started that sentence. What I like to do is I like to start sentences. And just like this one, I like to hope that by the end of them, I have something meaningful to say. Doesn't always happen, but at least enough of the time, it seems to. So, when I say GuMiho, and something doesn't pop into my head, that leaves me in a very awkward situation, where I have to do some sort of meta commentary about a running train of thought. When that train derails, then you have maybe a few side rails you can hop back on and maybe find yourself back to the tracks by making some sort of convoluted analogy about trains or something like that. But, once again, we're off the rails here. Where's this SCV going? This is a proxy starport. Remember what I was saying about those sneaky Terrans? I mean, those creative Terrans and their off-center builds. They're just something a little bit different. GuMiho has... Oh, wait. No, it's for medevacs. This is reactored factory Hellion drop. But there is potential for something more off that starport as time goes on. I'm not guaranteeing it. You might know. I'm hinting. It's been done before, but it comes down to how much the Hellions are able to do. Astrea? Again, a sentry. Sentry first build. I do really like it. Will he notice? Like, will he go looking for the starport? Or expecting the starport? Oh, he's looking for the Hellions. He sees the command center timing. He knows. All the tells are there. The problem is, how do you actually cover your bases against this? He has a sentry, doesn't have enough energy for force field. Oh, he's looking. He's not finding. Oh, is he going to be completely unprepared? Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's an utter disaster. Oh, my God. This did more than GuMiho ever could have dreamed of. And I'm sure GuMiho does dream of killing probes. Who doesn't? He hasn't even lost anything yet. Don't you dare. Boost is ready. He hasn't 14 probes for nothing. There's your purification. And he just, like, come on, he just leaves. At least have the respect to go for, like, 4 more probe kills and lose the medevac. Come on. Like, get a little greedy. I don't know. I really thought Astrea had pinpointed this, but he made no indication. He realized it was reactor Hellion, but the starport just didn't factor in. And now he's locking the door after the flaming donkey has come in and burned his entire house down. He has that observer out there. I mean, the Hellion drop could come in again. He didn't lose anything, so... Astrea just playing it. I think at this point you just gotta play it pretty much like nothing happened. In the in the small chance that GuMiho messes up his next attack, if you were somewhat greedy, because if you play it safe now, you will lose. You will just be behind. Because even if GuMiho does like a mediocre attack, Astrea won't be able to capitalize on that. His best chance is being taking the third, well, he stopped building probes at 41. So he is going to try to meet this head on. There is enough bio here that without Colossi are a dream. There's 6 stalkers. Yeah, he does need some units. If he can defend this, building some probes again. Will GuMiho play a perfect game as Terran? No, he won't. If he goes without losing a unit, I would be incredibly surprised. And also a little... Okay, there's a Marine. First blood. More probes dying to Hellions. Will it never end? The Hellion's not bad against Zealots either, just not the usual choice. Siege tank actually obliterates a lot there. Guardian shield a bit late, and the Zealots outside of it. Yeah, GuMiho without... this isn't a particularly... it's not good enough. An even trade. Tie goes to the leader, and GuMiho far ahead after that. Both games where GuMiho managed to get an any sort of early aggression in, it ends up going pretty well. I guess the Widowmine drop actually was the game that didn't end up going well, so that's nice to see. But Astrea handled that beautifully in much the same way he didn't the Hellions. That was an utter disaster. That was a bop, as they say. He bopped him right there. We probably should have just cut off this video right after the Battlecruiser game. But here we are. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out the second channel for games on the new patch. And when we get some professional games, a little less amateur, I'll try to cast them here. Especially if we get those, what, Jimmy? 1,112 likes. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Hopefully I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun, and remember that Hellion drop exists. Stay chill.